I wanted to briefly talk a little bit about XRP because some of you guys are, curious about, some of the targets in the coin library, and we're talking about, based on the long-term adoption. Well, do you really think that these are realistic targets? I really have a hard time sometimes with this conversation with you guys because when we were in the bear market and we saw Zcash down where it was, and things down where it was before, you guys are basically asking for downgraded targets and like, hey Mac, when are we going to downgrade? Can we downgrade more? Right? Like you guys kind of want that momentum when we're on the downside here, and market has been not providing the absolute best, set of impulse as of late, but we've seen some good stabilization. XRP at $1.20, still a 2x plus from where most of you guys are in. And I know it's very easy to look at the picture with Ripple right now, and we cover XRP news so regularly. And are these targets, realistic based on all that long-term adoption? Let's be very clear about how we set those targets, right? First of all, they're Fibonacci extension based, so we kind of have to just start ignoring the Fibonacci's and start just picking ones deep into the blue ocean out there before we start saying, okay, this is where we think it's going to land because of all of this adoption. I think that it's important that we consider cycling out of stuff to be able to reduce some of that risk. The targets 1, 2, 3 doesn't mean it can't ever go any further than this, right? That's not what that means. It means that we're looking at the multiples, we're looking at the market cap required, and we're willing to make a tactical plan to scale out of the position. You don't have to follow those guys, right? You guys can pick a plan that's good for you. And I'll show you guys where those Fibonacci extensions take us next if we want to look deeper into the future. What I want you guys to think about, though, is what does market cap need to be for us to exceed this immediate cycle, right? You have 62 billion circulating right now, 100 billion total supply. So 62 billion is the circulating. So we get a market cap right now of 75 billion. The market collectively for XRP is worth $75 billion right now. So 2x, how much money needs to come into this market on top of this? Another $75 billion to get a 2x out of the market. Now, I just want you guys to think about even some of like the targets we have for XRP right now. And if you were to, first of all, measure a lot of this out, and I know I'm skipping right ahead to XRP here, but I want to close out this topic for you guys. We can look at the current Fib sequence in here. And what do we get here? We actually get lower than that $8 mark, what I've given you, for that 1.618 in there. It's like $5.28. I don't even list that. So obviously I already have a little bit of conviction beyond that 1.618 in there, and we barely pushed a new all-time high here in July of last year, as did ETH, as did Solana, right? Very, very similar behavior, just barely poking out that new high, tempting the market there. You see above that, you get 11, 13, and then you actually get the 8 extension here as 25, and beyond that you see 41 as the next figure. Now, if we go ahead and take the old structure here from 2013, we do an overlap. Let's see if we get any additional confluence up here. You guys can see that 5, 8, 13 number are repeated, and then you get a $21 to $25 figure here between the 377 from the old Fibonacci extension section we looked at, and then the 8 extension from here. So that's where kind of like that 21 to 25 number comes in. You guys can, of course, place your chips accordingly. Now, what was I looking at here for total market cap? So at $5.30, you get a $328 billion market cap. At $8, almost $500 billion. At $10, $620 billion. $13, $800 billion. $14 would be $868. And a $21 XRP is $1.3 trillion. So it's not about a lack of belief or ignoring that there's long-term fundamental growth. And I'm not telling you guys you have to sell everything or anything at all. It's completely up to you guys. My goal is just try to help you guys cycle in and out of stuff, because I know how sentiment gets when the market turns over and you wish you had sold more, and wish you had the opportunity to stack again at a better price using your newly found capital. So use whatever you guys want here, right? I'm not in charge of you. I'm not here to tell you guys what to do. You guys can also look at this Fib range in here, and you get that $22 to $25 range, and then you get 35 to 41 using these clusters in here. But again, if we're expecting 1.3 trillion at $21, at $44, what we're asking for closing in on $3 trillion in market cap, I'm not saying it's not possible, but let's just be realistic, considering the total market cap right now is worth 2.2 trillion. Okay, at its peak, it was worth a little over 4. So I'm just trying to ground you guys and give you guys those multi-step exit plans. From, I know most of you guys in from what, 60-ish cents or so, from like 50, 60 cents up into that $21 target, right? What do we get up here? That is a 3,500% reward. So I feel like I'm not doing my job by telling you guys, yeah, just let's hope XRP just continues to do astronomical returns and we get to $6,700 a cycle. I think it can happen in additional cycles, but like, do you guys see how the market has matured and created these higher lows? I don't want us wishing on the stars and not taking, or not wishing on the moon and not taking some of the beautiful stars in front of us. Okay. So again, this wasn't to talk down on you guys or to tell you I know better, because I certainly don't know everything and I can't predict exactly what the market is going to do. But I'm not going to treat XRP special and give it magic targets that don't align with my general theory of how I like to do that multi-step exit through those extension-based targets. Okay, I just don't want you guys to be caught wrong-footed. Here's the thing: you care about something long-term, you believe in long-term, keep some of the bag long-term, park it away and be like, that's not getting sold, and that way you're not worried about it, right? And you can look at those long-term targets. But like, we've seen what happens with everything, with Bitcoin, ETH, it's going further, right? Everyone starts to call for higher prices, and then when we do see that fall short, it's just not something that we're actually truly comfortable with. That risk appetite's not really there. So I just want you guys to have the opportunity, just like with Zcash, like I've done with you guys. It's not saying that Zcash can't go further. It's about managing risk. And if we're not willing to manage risk and willing to take something off the table, or at least start to reduce initial capital into the project at some of those targets, we're not doing anything helpful for ourselves here, right? Might as well not even think about the sell button and just be a buyer until what, 20 years from now, 15 years from now, you decide what's good for you. But I really, really recommend you guys cycling out. I hate seeing you guys stuck. I don't want you guys to become disenchanted or, start to hate an investment because, you didn't take enough profit.